Okay, we're gonna be finishing the last Bolen bevel, and this is the fourth one in the little collection. This is a hammerstone biface that I've been working on a little bit, and so should go pretty well. One of these lights over here is kind of twitching, it seems like. But yeah, I've turned that edge a little bit right there. So just go ahead and finish it. Same thing on the opposite side, another turned edge to go this way. It's like it's already beveled. I hope you can see what I'm doing down here too, because I want to scrunch. I'm using my leg a little bit. You can do it without your leg, but I like to use my leg to apply a little bit more pressure, and it's easier to apply pressure when your arms are extended instead of up here, because then you're having to contract your pecs and bring your chest in. It's easier if it's further out. Yeah, this material is more, it's kind of like Franciscan chert in the way that it works. And I know many of you haven't napped Franciscan chert, but to those of you who have, it's one of those materials where it's a chert, and when it's raw, it naps crisp. Whereas some Texas cherts, when they're raw, they are, it's hard to explain, but they're tough because they're soft. What I mean by that is, like, it's not a hard material, because some things can be tough to nap because they're genuinely hard. Like a good example would be a really like Knife River, some really nice translucent Knife River, where it's, or like a raw agate. That's just really hard stuff, but it's fine grained. But other materials are soft because the grain structure isn't as put together. This chert right here is raw, but it's working really well because I guess it's just the grain structure is nice. It's not like some Texas rock or some siltstone or something that's hard to nap because it doesn't really, I don't know, it's hard to explain because there's a lot of physics that go into that. But basically, it's just soft. It absorbs, like certain materials absorb blow better. There's a crack right there, some sort of pocket. I'm not sure what that is. Just some little crack. I saw it before. Just have to work into it. I'm not gonna hit that with the hammerstone because there's a little crack right near it. I'd rather do it with a punch. Do this little spot here first. Move my pad back a little bit. Nice, 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 nice. It's kind of hard with this angle because I usually get further back, but there's a tripod right there, so I'm having to like get more like that with the punch, with the billet piece, the striking piece. So got to work on the base. Don't want to do it too late, otherwise I could break it. But it looks like the stuff in the base, you can see from that angle, see the color difference. There's some really highly silicified stuff all through here. This looks grainier. Might nap a little bit worse, but it doesn't seem like it's hindering my ability to do so thus far. Strike that down. It's getting a little bit screwed up right there. That's okay, because that has to come in right there. This is a tough spot. It's not really turned to any edge, really. Even if you wanted to get in there and go that way, it's too flat over here. Have to change the angle from over here on the corner. Catch it at a downward angle. Oh man, there we go. So I turn that edge, but it's really low, so I have to see how low that is. If I were to hit that, it would probably hinge because it's so flat on that side. So just to raise it a little bit, scrunch it, bring that edge up a little bit. Now you can see that it's friendlier. Be a good opportunity to take a large flake this way. I'll do that with the billet. But first, I'm gonna take a small flake right there, because or take some flakes right there, because I want to remove that really low hanging area so that I don't accidentally strike that. It's best to do this basal thinning kind of early. This is a little bit too big for this one, but don't want to break it on this one. Yeah, I'd rather do that with the hammerstone, because this is pretty hard to support when it's this small. Got a nice contour on that side, but we have to turn this way. Yeah, the stuff in the base is just a little bit more crusty. That one crushed right there. Have to get a large flake next door. That's not a large flake. Okay, I have to punch that. I mean, maybe I could strike right there with the hammerstone, but that's pretty close to that last crushed edge there. I wouldn't want to risk it there. It's not the best punch platform because it's kind of heavy. I think I'll just risk it with the hammerstone because it's pretty heavy. It looks somewhat decent. Might be able to get in there with the little guy. But I don't know because there's that crushed area there. There's a platform. But it's not crushing him when I just have to support it really well and pinch it and squeeze it. Yeah, it's not gonna go, it's just crushing. It's a bummer. Fortunately, we have a lot of thickness, quite a bit of width still, so I'll just recreate that edge there. But that crushed area isn't gonna work so well to turn. It wants to be stubborn. Yeah, it's stubborn. I'm just gonna come up really high above it. Oh man, there's one of those undetached flakes there. Right there. Oh. Now it's just crushing. Getting some really bad flakes right there. Just gonna have to be aggressive and that's so bad. Oh my gosh, that was... I thought I could come up above it. Apparently I couldn't. This one's gonna be interesting. Oh gosh, no. That's crushing too. Just gonna have to conserve that area in there for later because it's too far inset. Just work somewhere else. Forget about it. And this area up here needs to go this way. Actually, you know what? Take a flake down. Ah, that was exactly what I wanted. I wanted that flake to go and expand a little bit into that area, so I came up really high. Help us get into that troublesome area. A little bit isolated area. Scrunch it down. Little ridge. Punch it. Even though it's overhanging a little bit. That'll punch turn. I definitely need to make some new punches because these ones are getting a little bit old. This one's a really old pressure flaker. This was one of my first pressure flakers. You can see the coloration on that. It's from when it was left out and got wet. Just like that big elk antler tine I have. That big elk antler I have. It's not a tine. Get that base thinned out a little bit. think this one might be the smallest of the bunch. What I do like is that they're all the same material, but they're all a little bit different. Well, if this one comes out at least. I gotta be careful on that platform. Let's strike that one up high and be safe because I don't want to hinge that one. So we've got that big giant stack right there. Let's see what we can do with our punch. Might want to go back this way first. Barely a little bit. I think I might just zigzag it, but I think with this platform here, one that I just created, I might be able to get a lot of it off. Get in there and abrade it a little bit. Here's all that crap. Platform right there. Just took a punch flake that way and then abraded that little platform in there. Might be able to set my punch on there and punch some of this off. Has to be the right spot on the punch. I don't want to contribute to the madness. Ah, perfect. It took a while for it to go. You can see, just removed a lot of that. Punched it off right there. Just gonna zigzag it. Just gonna go back and forth. But I also see two platforms because I can go this way. There's a little bit of thickness right there, so I can go that way, down that way. And then there's also this little one right there that I can put my punch on. Uh-oh, that one tore out. A little bit strange. Went into that thick spot. This is these platforms that I'm punching right now are a little bit heavy for this punch because it was kind of a hammerstone screwed up edge, and then this is raw chert, so it's harder. And this punch is kind of soft. You saw how it worked on the obsidian like a charm, but I need to file it all down to make it round again because it's wearing, making all these little undulations and notches and stuff. You can tell that that's not really that hard of an antler too. It's kind of dark. Got to take control of the base down here because it needs some help. Beautiful. Cut into that. There was that problem area over there from that last punch flake that came into that thick spot. I took a hammerstone flake from the base. This piece is already really translucent. It's only going to get more translucent as I nap it. Another high hammerstone flake from the base. Thin it out. Take one more down here. One little baby flakes. Turn that edge, go that way. That I will probably pressure flake because it's not gonna come out that well with the hammerstone, because if I overstrike it, then it will wrap and then it'll be another steep edge that I'll have to further take in. Oh, that's gonna give me some problems. If I had a really hard hammerstone, I could probably strike that. Oh, shit. That antler time's too soft. Do I have any hard hammerstones? I need a small, hard hammerstone. This one's big, but it's hard. Oh, come on. Ooh, there it goes. Still a little bit of it there, but the rest of this edge right here I'll punch because it looks really good for punch work. It's kind of low, sloping, thin edge, nice thick area. Put the punch on there, take like 2 flakes there. Blend them in with the surface there. This is the other punch, which I also need to file down. That one's got a really screwed up edge. But even still, with these all screwed up like this, you can find good spots to grab the platforms with. It just becomes a little bit harder. Beautiful, look at that flake. Ripped right in there. We'll take one more next door. Beautiful, beautiful. Thinning out that base. We still have that crack over here. And it looks like it's kind of a continuous crack because we've got some right there. And on the other side, we got some right there. Little crystal pocket right there. Each one of these pieces of coastal plains is unique. Last piece had some red. The first piece is almost like a tan variety, still translucent. It had some black spots in it, and the other one that I had, the second one that I made, has a nice little spot in the tip. So they're all the same material, collected by the same person, but it's all different. That area looks really good for punch work. Just the edge is kind of sloped ever so slightly. It's just perfect for punch work. It's kind of thin, but it's still braided. You could strike on that with a hammerstone, but I don't think your luck would be as great. Well, I mean, I know you can because I've taken really nice flakes from edges like that, but it's harder. Gotta find the right spot on the punch because it's not the best. It's not at its best right now. Ah, beautiful. That one blew up. You can see where that punch flake came out. Right there. Right now I'm taking opportunistic punch flakes. This one's just going to be a small one. I'll strike that one downward to blend that edge over there, because if I struck that one too far in, it would have created a hinge, because this edge only slopes a little bit and before it gets flat up at the top. A lot of avoiding hinges is taking time to study the relationship between your current edge and your current contours. I wonder if early archaic people were punching more than later woodland period or Mississippian period people, or maybe the opposite. Be cool to see the trends throughout the time periods. What was popular. I might, like I said earlier, I might leave this one thick. So all this work could be the finishing work. And then just do the edge. That one came out in a strange manner because that platform was kind of strange. It didn't hinge, but it was kind of close to a hinge. Strike that one downward. We have to work on this crack here in the base. Yep, people are still blowing stuff up. Another good punching edge. Put a big flake right here. Beautiful. Put that one back on. A lot of these are breaking. We'll fix a lot of that contour with pressure flaking. Maybe I'll do the notches on this one really minimal. Plus my notching, the punch that I have for notching right now is not very suitable for thick points. But if you get a brow tine or just an antler tine, or even a piece of bone, and it has a triangular cross section. So this one is more just straight flat punch, which have disadvantages to them. Because if you it's hard to hold it like that, and if it folds like that and you're notching, it'll push out the notch or the ear. But if you have one that is more triangular cross section, where it's just kind of like a triangle like that, thicker on the sides but still tapered towards the tip, it's much stronger, and you can notch things that are thicker. I wouldn't try to notch this though. I made this punch because I was really into making some andices, which I still have to try and do because I fail at many of them. The last one that I tried was a Georgetown andice, and it was like super close to being finished. I was on the last notch, and then I broke it. the last flake pretty much in that notch. Which, you know, it sucks, but it's just part of the game of learning. You gotta know that when you break something, you're a little bit closer to making the finished one. You're a little bit closer to making your desired product, as long as you have more rocks for it. Just folded the tip a little bit, but it didn't change the center of the tip. Just folded it a little bit. So the next thing on the base here is going to be to turn, so I took all those hammerstone flakes on this side. I'm going to take a punch flake in the corner here, and then a punch flake on the side here, and then punch flakes this way. I'm going to grind this down a little bit. Okay. Even just a little bit of grinding like that changes the punch, makes it much more suitable for grabbing. Take one in the middle here. Perfect. It cut through all that little crack slash crystal, except it hinged a little bit right there. Might be able to get it from a different spot later. I'm going to do the big one first. That edge is still a little bit screwed up from that hammerstone catastrophe earlier. Yeah, it's still kind of heavy. Yeah, it's going to have to be changed a little bit. There we go. Just that little teeny flake came out. Changed everything up. You know, I'm just gonna pressure flake that. You can punch it, but it's more accurate to do it this way. So just pressure flake that off, and then I'm changing the angle a little bit so that it'll be more punch friendly. Might want to just punch on here. No, that doesn't feel right. Beautiful. That's going to be really easy to notch, except that it was pretty deep. blend it in a little bit. I didn't mean for that one to be that deep, but it's okay. Ooh, that was a little bit sketchy, but it came out. If this were heat treated, that probably would have just blown off the entire ear right there. Just like that. Here's that area with the crack. Uh-oh, there goes the crack. Blew it off a little bit. Thick body, I might want to bring that side in and pressure flake it, punch it, get all the edges looking presentable. But the base is all thin now except for this little area, but I'll pressure flake that. I'll use my elk pressure flaker. I have to put a new insert in this thing. Only problem is I'm not sure how I'm gonna split it back open because I Gorilla glued it. So, and I made this one to do like Cody Complex really long pressure flakes, but I haven't made any Scots Bluffs or anything like that with it yet, which is kind of ironic because I've just been using it for other stuff. I would say this Bolen is going to be the heaviest of them all. No offense, Bolen, but I'm just saying. It's not your fault. I'm not sure if I said this in a different video, but if you're ever cold and you want to get warmed up, do some heavy pressure flaking. You will warm up. I might have to take this jacket off, even though it's somewhat cold out here. Little mini workout. Okay, so I just turned that edge because there's some punch work that I want to remove. There's some areas that I want to punch on this side before I finish it with pressure flaking and do the notches. If I can. Punch flick. Oh, yes. Punch flick. Space it out. Punch flick. I just wanted to do that little series right there because that side was really curved, and I might do it on this side and go that way. Which I'm basically just starting the bevel a little bit early with punching, which probably wouldn't have been done, but because most of the beveling is just from pressure flake resharpening. But some points, it seems like they were just, well, I mean, you can tell that they were basically beveling with percussion. Like that one giant Thebes blade that Pete Bostrom casted. I'm not sure. I think it's from Illinois. And then also, you know, like Pandale points. So you could make an argument that some points were beveled with percussion. The force went through my preform and then got me in the back of my finger. Kind of hurt. Wasn't terrible though. Still a little bit screwed up right there. I might want to notch it and then just bevel it and have a nice thick Bolen bevel. Some of them were really well made. But the one characteristic that I noticed on a lot of these is that the bases were really well rounded. Of course, not on all of them. Oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just bevel to that side then, because that was a bad pressure flake. I'll just come up over it. Just heard a noise in the yard, not sure what that was. Maybe it's Kung Fu Panda. Po from Kung Fu Panda. Okay. One big heavy pressure flake right there because that area there is screwed up. And this is a really soft piece of elk beam, outer beam from a dead elk. Oh, shit. The elk that all these tools came from looked like it hadn't been dead for that long. It was all bones, but you could see that there were still sinews and some hair on it. And it had a big giant rack of antlers. One side was kind of malnourished or whatever because it was much smaller than the other. But my uncle talked to the ranger that was there, and he asked if he could take it, just the skull, and he said yeah. And then my uncle gave it to me because he knew I wanted to use. He knew I was a flint knapper. That was one of the best scores because I've been using these tools for at least 3 years, and I still have the other entire tine. Okay, I'm gonna do the notches. I'm gonna start them off with pressure flaking because sometimes if you start, I know some people can do it. Whenever I start something off with a punch, sometimes it makes the notch too rounded. Or too V-shaped, and that's usually because I'm coming from above the platform. If you have a really low platform, then you can get away with that. I'm gonna try and get this one to be one of those Bolen bevels where the notches kind of open up. Also doing pressure flaking in between your punching. If you have a thin pressure flaker that you can get in between the punches with, then in between the notches with, between punch flakes, then you can ensure that your punch isn't gonna crush, because you can create the platform a little bit better. And of course you can do the pressure flaking with your punch, but it tends to be a little bit harder. Where's my nice little sharpened down I know I have a thinner one, but I guess this one will have to work. I'm not sure where my little notching tool went, but I'll just have to punch it out. That was a weird punch flake. Oh, geez. Ooh, wee. That one was a little bit. I'm gonna move you so you can see the punch work a little bit better. That last one that came out was, I feared that I was gonna break my ear off because I was coming up so steep like that. It seems like it worked. It didn't break off my ear, but once you get further in, it's best to have your angle much more horizontal or as close to like this. That way you can also thin it as you go in. There we go. You hear that little crush? There was a little spot that was sticking up over my platform. Sometimes you can see that if you look at it sideways, you can see that the notch is too sharp. Sometimes it's hard to see that, and then you go to punch it and then it crushes and then you're stuck. And I also have to sharpen this. Well, actually, just not sharpen it, but make it flatter, because if you start to wear down at the top here, it starts to wear like that, and then eventually it becomes too hard to grab onto platforms, so then you have to flatten it out, and that's how you lose length on your punches. It's part of the process. do dual wielding punch flakes in this notch. Actually, I don't know if I want to take a punch flake right there. It's pretty steep. Super small one, but we'll get in there with pressure flake. I have to sharpen it. Just barely sharpened it. This is not the right pressure flaker for this, but this pressure flaker is a little bit soft, and I didn't sharpen it all thin enough to get in there. There we go. Oh man, it's still crushing a little bit. Hey, what's up?
You want to eat?
Yeah, you got food?
I'm gonna make tuna melts.
Okay.
Yeah?
There it goes. Yeah. Sounds good. See, after that flake I just took, that notch looks better. I'm gonna widen this one a little bit. I think my little bone pressure flaker is inside, and that's the one that I would prefer to use right now. Because I accidentally put it in my pocket last night and then I walked inside, so. It also helps to have nice support. Sometimes people put little hard things underneath their pad. Not too hard, you know, but like maybe a piece of wood or a piece of bark that you can make your pad a little bit more stiff with. And then that way you can support your preform more. Keep it from moving too much. Oh, I accidentally moved my camera. Whoa! Dropped you on accident. What am I at? 53 minutes. That's not bad. I thought it was more like an hour. Pretty much an hour. So that last one was somewhat of a hinge. What if I got you really close? Might be too close. Anyway, this was the one that I was working on. Ensuring that it's strong. Oh no. I just crushed it. Damn, crushed. That might be as deep as that notch is gonna get because I accidentally crushed it just now. Can always make it wider and then try and get in there, but then again, this is looking like a Bolen bevel already, so the notches are looking accurate. Yeah, I really wish I had my little tool. Where'd it go? My sharpened pressure flaker. Where did it go? That's so strange. That's the weirdest thing ever. Does anyone else do that where you just lose your tool and it goes just... How did that happen? What the hell? Where did it go? And then you stand up and it like falls off of you or something. I just had it, I swear. Well, that's strange. That's really strange. Well, I'm not going to spend too much time looking for it. I would like to use it right now, but maybe I'll go inside and grab my bone tool, see if I can pressure flake some of this out. Because one notch is, that last notch crushed right there. This notch is controlled and I could go a little bit deeper. I'm really confused as to where that went. That's the craziest thing. I'll have to rewatch the video and see where I put it or see where it fell. Wow, that's so weird. Sometimes I amaze myself at my ability to lose things, misplace stuff. Oh, it's right here. I guess this was the tool, but it must have just... It must be a little bit more slim now because of my notch. My notches are just getting narrower. So it appeared that it was not the right tool. Like I said earlier, on some of these you can just make the notches really deep or really wide. That's what I'm going to do on this one. Oh man, that's not even gonna... It's not even gonna move, isn't it? Almost starting to look like a harden. Hey, I opened it up with a pressure flake. Did you see that? I thought I might be able to catch it really high and press really hard on that. Oh, that makes me giddy. You can see all those punch flakes there. Now I'm just gonna bevel it. This side was gonna go this way. Or actually, this side should go that way. this side is already beveled that way, so I'll just have to bevel this side that way. I would have preferred to bevel it the other way, but they can't both go to the same side. Kind of cool to leave those ridges from percussion punch work. You can't leave them there. They have to go because they're interfering with the beveled edge. Just take some pressure flakes down this way. I like my women how I like my early archaic knives. Beveled. The beauty of beveling is if you screw up on an edge and you crush it a little bit, you just bevel it some more and you remove that pressure flake because you just keep coming at it from that angle, and even then you're just removing mass so that and if it gets really thick, then it gets a nice deep bevel. That hammerstone flake it was a hammerstone flake that bent the tip up here. I have to bring this side of the tip in a little bit more. See, like that just crushed right there. All you do, bevel it steeper. I would have liked to remove that. Would have liked to remove that little fingernail flake in the base there, right there. It's just gonna have to stay. Bob Ross would say, have a happy little hinge flake that lives there. Just gonna make this tip all wicked and shit. Tomorrow I'm going to look for some Franciscan chert. Going on a little adventure by myself. I usually go with friends, but COVID and everything, not the best time to do that. Things will get better slowly in 2021. Yeah, look at that tip bevel. Do the final series, give it a nice serrated edge, even though it already does have a serrated edge. I like to grind the very top of the edge. Oh, almost dropped it. Even if you have a dull pressure flaker, you can still make serrations as long as you space them wide enough to where they're not going to cut into the last pressure flake, and that creates a serration in between the two. Oh geez. Trying to
Ready.
Okay. Dinner is ready. This may not be the best last series. I like that. I like how the material at the very tip of this piece is really translucent. There's a whole lot more work I could do on this if I wanted, but it's looking pretty good and I like the way it looks. Okay, we're gonna grind it. Make sure not to burinate the ear like I've done before. I know I've been uploading a ton of stuff. It's because I have a lot of storage on my iPhone, I have a tripod, and I'm on break for a couple days. Well, yeah, because I have a class starting soon. May not be napping much after that, depending on how hard the class is. Let's do a little wash off per usual. There's number 4. Maybe I'll take some pictures tomorrow and post them. The tip is pretty wicked. The ears, the base, all a little bit strange. Put this in the background. One thing that people do is they film themselves making the point. Many flint knappers on YouTube, and they don't really show it at the end. I know some do. People like to see the finished product. There were some pressure flakes that came in right there. Some percussion scars. Those are the punch flakes. the notches came out pretty nice. Not beautiful, but had I had a better tool for it, would have come out nicer. But I really like this one, and it's gonna go really well with all the others. And you can see that there's that crystal pocket there that I was talking about. Kind of crystal vein, I guess. There it is on that side. And I'll show you how translucent this is. You can see how not screwed up the notches are. That's all right. Look how much brighter the tip is. Cool.